In this week's episode, man, it's a packed episode, starting with Mercury re-ingressing into the sign of Aquarius, where ideas return. And then the combination of Mars and Venus conjoining, the full moon making a square to the nodes, and the Jupiter making a sextile to Uranus about changes to growth and expansion. And we end with the sun in the healing waters of Pisces. So to hear more, tune in to this week's episode of Astrological Intentions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, coming to you from Chicago, and Sandy out in Scottsdale. Say
Hello.
Hi to the Rodeo Rouser.
Oh, Rodeo Rouser is like shocker. Yes.
And this is episode 186, February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day. Let's get right into it. In the transits, we have Monday, February 14th today, Mercury ingress Aquarius.
All cool ideas return.
Wednesday, February 16th, Venus conjunct Mars.
Mars is faster?
Same day, full moon in Leo.
King, his court, and his people.
Sandy's Astro interesting day, Thursday, February 17th, Jupiter sextile Uranus.
Changes to growth and expansion.
Then to finalize the weekend, Friday, February 18th, Sun ingress Pisces.
Creative healing party.
Then in Talisman time, Sandy has finished up to increase fertility and upcoming to be recognized as an authority figure worldwide. Then the Talisman of the Month, to develop new technology as a skill. It is on sale and ready for you. Then on the horizon, we have our Astrology Forecast for February, our 2 webinars, one being a talisman ceremony, a documentary, bracelet workshop, and a retreat, all ready and waiting for you. Then in our house, Sandy is spending the week with my brother, her son, Andrew, in sunny Scottsdale, and he is joining as our special guest. So stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions.
And so you finally know you control where you go.
Hello, Rodeo Rouser.
I'm not a rodeo fan. It seems that this is my 3rd rodeo, though.
Yes.
That, people are heading to, and I'm part of the group. And so I go. The very first one was in Brazil. The second one was in Houston, Texas. And the third one in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah. And you'll hear more on our house, because this is my, Andrew's first rodeo, and did not know what to expect. And you'll hear, well, you can't see his face because I didn't record it at the time, but his face was priceless. Little boy. Like, seriously, you could get seriously hurt.
Right. So I want to go direct to all of you listeners, like every week, and say thank you so much for all of your feedback. It is our soul food, so keep it coming. We received an email from Susan W. She listened to our past recording of when I was announcing my big lifetime achievement news.
Right. Yeah.
And she says, woohoo, Alex, you go, girl. Loved hearing your pool champion story and so proud of you. I just had to Google Efren and share this with you. Nothing that you didn't already know. And she Googled it, and she Googled who is the best pool player of all time. And it says Efren Reyes. Pool pundits, fans, and former players widely consider Efren Manalong Magician Reyes as the greatest pool player of all time. Then she finishes, when you were telling the story, I had a visual of you playing him and I could feel your excitement. It gave me chills when you said that you beat him, which deep down inside of me, I already knew that. Just love listening to you and Sandy, and I try to catch the episodes by Tuesday at the latest. Go Bengals and enjoy the Super Bowl. XO Susan. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening, and thank you for getting so involved in our escapades. It is exciting.
It is.
When you hear somebody that you really enjoy, and you're on the same values, are doing some really cool things. Thank you.
Yes. So let's move into the transits. This is Valentine's Day week, starting off with Monday, February 14th, Mercury ingress Aquarius. Tell us about this.
All cool ideas are returning. Mercury was in Aquarius before he retrograde. Well, he was retrograding in Aquarius, dropped back into the former sign of Capricorn, and now returns, even though he's direct. He's making his third and final ingress into this angle, the sign. And really, these ideas can be inclusive for everyone involved. If you can recall what you were doing around January 3rd to January 14th, when this planet, the planet of communication and making deals and readings and writings and arithmetics, was in this Aquarius before the retrograde period, it seems like these discussions are back on the front burners and they're bubbling up. What is it? Are you to skim from this?
Okay.
Yeah. Set those ideas back into order, or maybe you've got more information around them that you can move them forward now with this proper enlightenment. Yes.
And Wednesday, February 16th, we have 2 transits. The first, Venus conjunct Mars.
Yeah, at 15 degrees Capricorn. Now, Mars is really strong here. Mars is exalted in Capricorn. Venus doesn't really have any dignity here, but doesn't mind being in Capricorn. And this is where she has been retrograde. She's been here since November, early November. And now Mars has caught up with Venus. And it's quite unusual. And why is that? Why is Mars faster than Venus? Mars takes, let's just think about this. Mars takes approximately 2 years to go around the zodiac, right? To hit all the constellations.
Right.
Venus takes a year, actually a little bit less than a year. So if Mars is half the speed of Venus, how can Mars catch up? Oh, because Mars is moving pretty fast right now, but Venus has just moved forward from her retrograde position. So she's very slow. She hasn't caught up yet. So there is the only time that one, like a slower moving planet can actually maybe catch up or speed up and pass up a faster moving planet. And so this is one of those. But we think about this and we say, okay, yes, Mars is in the exaltation, as I just mentioned. So he's leading the march. He's like pushing, he's directing, he's, amplifying. He's saying, okay, take action around this. And Venus is a morning star. We have to think about that. So she's this Lucifer phosphorus where, Venus can have both yin and yang properties. And she has yang property now because of her morning star. So she's hooking up with this Mars saying, okay, we are both after the same thing because we are both, energetic.
More in the masculine. Yeah.
Yeah, more in the masculine. Venus is saying, okay, I'm going to meet up with you. But if you think about it, and we can break it down even further, that Mars is the god of war and Venus is the goddess of peace, in love, in harmony. So how do these two, work? Is this, increasing our aggression? Is it increasing our assertion?
Uh-huh.
So think about that, where, you can possibly make some really powerful action moves that both link the Venus and the Mars together, because this is, again, the Hieros Gamos, where they're making a soul union. They're connecting for a creative force.
And to me, like just like Venus, like that morning Venus is kind of like a tomboy type of attitude for me. It's kind of the Rosie Riveter type. Like we can do it, that kind of like more, activated feminine power. So I think that, that could be something that could be utilized.
She can also, she'll fight for a cause.
Right.
She's not willing and wanting to pick a fight. You've heard me say this, but she's willing to stand up for her rights.
Right.
And Mars being here, she has his sword available. So she's got this protector.
Yeah.
Right. So sparks galore. However you want to look at that. Right. So let the sparks fly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Wednesday, February 16th, full moon in Leo, same day, our second transit.
Yeah. And a couple hours later from that, what we were just talking about happens about 8:30 in the morning. And the full moon comes in right around 11 a.m. And this is at 28 degrees of Leo, which when we say full moon, we know that both luminaries are involved, the sun and the moon. And that means that the sun is in his, the sun is in the opposite sign of Leo. So that's Aquarius.
Right.
And the moon is in Leo, the sun's rulership. So there's kind of there's what's called a reception here. Okay. And I called this king, his court, and his people. And why did I call that? Because this angle of this opposition of the sun moon, 180 degrees, the other 180 degrees are the nodal axis. The north and the south node are at 27 of fixed signs as well. The north node is at 27 Taurus and the south node is at 27 Scorpio. So it seems like we've got these four stakes. It's really what's called a grand cross. Yeah. Uh-huh. Which means that there are two oppositions exactly opposite in a 90-degree angle from each other.
Wow.
So it's really like playing Foursquare. Does anybody remember playing Foursquare?
Oh, I love that. I love that game. And I was a tom girl. I was a tomboy.
And so it's kind of like, do you agree to be different? Do you agree to be on different sides? So there's topics on the table that can be completely opposing placements. But, are you moving forward or backward? That north, are we moving north? Are we moving to the future? Or are we stuck in the backwards, the south node, the weakening area, the place that has, the wastelands? Which way are we moving? Right. I want to make a comment here because which means that we're halfway from the last eclipses and we're halfway to the next set of eclipses. So we're at the halfway point when we get this full moon being in this grand cross, and it's called the north bendings. We're moving toward the north. And so this can really be, look at the moon at this point. It's the highest and brightest that it will be because it's angled to the nodes. So pay attention to the moon very high in the sky and very bright because it's at the halfway points of the eclipses. And, I don't know this too. I know we're all looking and watching the news. I don't really talk about the mundane news on our podcast. We talk more about it on our monthly with Susan Goodell. We talk more about that as we do our free month ahead. We talk more about mundane, about world news. But this really does seem to be a activated period for this Russia insurgents or action that may be taken. This could really be a decisive period where it's like, which way do we go, forward or backward? And, we know that Russia does not want to go backward. He's actually trying to correct things from that happened in the past that they don't happen in the future. So big day here on Wednesday.
16th. Yeah. And so let's move on to your Astro interesting day, Thursday, February 17th, Jupiter sextile Uranus.
changes to growth and expansion. And
Similar theme.
similar theme. I called it the Astro, interesting day, because we also have, we have other planets here connected. And, one of them, okay, so when Jupiter, the planet of expansion, makes a nice, it's a weak but nice sextile aspect to Uranus. Uranus wants change. Well, Jupiter wants growth. So something's going to change. Is it get bigger? Does it get smaller? Does it
change directions?
Does it change directions? It's like, Jupiter being in Pisces wants to add, wants to be a guide to help this liberation, this freeing, this freedom of being, an individual. So to have these back to back kind of makes me think that, we are pushing to get our freedom. So again, if we're talking about, we are talking about the Venus and the Mars this week, linking up of, the goddess of peace and the god of war are, involved in this Wednesday and Thursday combination. So is it like, do things de-escalate? Do they escalate? Who wants freedom? Who wants autonomy? Who wants liberation? And there we see the fight, right? There we see the two sides saying, you can't own us.
Right.
The other side going, yeah, we can. We did once and we will again. So, we're going to be watching the news quite
intently.
Yes.
And so Friday, February 18th is our last transit of the week, Sun ingress Pisces.
I mean, come on.
Thank goodness you started the end of the week with this.
Yeah. I mean, creative healing party. And this happens at 10:43 in the morning. This is like we entering into a chilling out, right? Because the sun moving into a water sign and joining with Jupiter, which is the ruler of this Pisces water sign. So Jupiter's in his domicile, and now here comes the sun. Now, the only thing that could be a little, muddy, I was going to say mousy, but muddy, is that Jupiter now is under the beams of the sun. So the sun, the sun is at zero, just moved in, is at zero, and Jupiter is at 11 degrees. And so, we talk within that 8-degree orb, 8.5 degree becomes combust, but still right now from the 8.5 degrees to the 15 degrees is called under the beams of the sun. So something is going on in private places. So still that creative healing party can go on within us as an individual, as a single soul person, but it could go on individual in a relationship amongst two people, a family, amongst a home, a home front, going on within the confines of the non-public world. So this makes me too think that maybe there's some calmness trying to come in between two parties, between all these leaders, as I stay kind of in theme from what we just talked about the meetup of, wanting freedom in the future, is maybe there's some talks going on that aren't public. They're strictly for private. So we may not know that yet for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. And it's exciting because it's going to be Pisces season, and we are big fans of Pisces season. And happy birthday to all our fellow Pisces out there. So let's move into talisman times. You have finished up one very special one, February 12th. That was Saturday, to increase fertility.
This one particular space in my body, my mind, and my heart, and my life is open for including and birthing a child. It is the perfect place. So in the chart, we've got the moon in Cancer, which the moon is in the 5th house, which it rules children. So the moon is in a place where the moon, Luna, can provide a warm, watery, comforting place of nourishment and nurturing. 5th house of children, making a really tight aspect in a trine to Jupiter, which is coming up over the horizon, and the ruler of the chart. So
they're on the horizon. That's
along with the moon is also making a that's the next one. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong part. So that's that. Yeah.
Well, then let's move into the next one.
Yeah.
I really do love that one. So the upcoming talisman, Saturday, February 19th, to be recognized as an authority figure worldwide.
With global status, I commit to the hard work, long hours, and dedication to service that is set before me. I have come so far already that really feels like I've made it. This is moon is in Libra, which is where Saturn is exalted, and moon is making a trine to Saturn. And the thing about Saturn being in his preferred placement, because he's now oriental to the sun, and that means that the sun comes up after Saturn. So Saturn is making the, hear ye, the king is about to arrive to the day.
Heralding.
So the two superior planets, Jupiter and Saturn, prefer that place as being in front of the sun, not behind the sun, as in, walking behind the king.
Yeah, the VIP.
A subservient placement where they're moving in front of the king. So this is a very nice one that I'm about to do, and that is on Saturday. Saturday morning, on February 19th.
And we still have our Talisman of the Month available to develop new technology as a skill. This Talisman of the Month is discounted for $222, and you also get a shipping credit. A beautiful deal if this talisman does call to you. So let's move on to the horizon and discuss the upcoming things, but also I have some things that are completely available and ready for download now, which is the Astrology Forecast with you and Susan, that when you discussed all of February news. This will probably be the last time I discuss it, since we're already halfway through, but that is ready, as well as those cheat sheets. Those cheat sheets are really helpful. It's a downloadable PDF that has notes where you can take note of whatever is going on for you specifically. Also, we have our Venus Heliacal Rise. That was the talisman ceremony for this kind of heralding of Venus that happened. And this talisman webinar comes with a talisman, comes with tons of personal handouts and a personal chart. Also the CWS, that's the Chatting with the Stars webinar. That was the USA's Pluto return. This is one of 3 series, and this one is ready and available for download. And we also have the Changing of the Gods documentary that will be happening very shortly. So you want to get your email up and in to be notified on when that documentary is live.
Right.
We do have a couple spots left for our spring equinox. That's the Constellation Bracelet Workshop starting March 2nd. And you're going to want to sign up within this next week so that we can get you your paperwork in the mail on time. And let's see. We'll do one quick announcement. We also have our 2023 Mexico retreat early bird registration available, and that is happening in 2023, January 21 to 28. So that is all for our On the Horizon today.
Can I add something that I talked to Bali this morning?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Koman, our guy over there, one of our guys. And he said that Bali's opened up to very few international flights, but have. The
That's good
point
news.
is they have opened up for the first time in about 2 years. However, you still need a 5-day quarantining in Bali. But you know what I say to that? Thank goodness. Right? Because when you get to Bali, it's like, good, I want to stay in my little,
Yeah.
hut. I don't want to go anywhere. Everything I need is provided for right here. He did say that there's a lot of places that aren't opened yet. So they actually have, I don't know if they've canceled it, but they're not. Yeah, I think they've canceled Galugan.
Oh yeah, Nepi.
And well, the Galugan is
Well, I guess
that
Nepi is
parade,
basically quarantining.
right? But the parade, that 10 days, that the 10 days where they're bringing in and everybody makes those puppets,
Uggas, aren't they called?
Uggas, that's been canceled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and that happens.
Yeah.
That probably
It's the
happened.
Ugga Festival.
March 3rd is Nepi. And we were there for a Nepi, and I
It was
loved
so
it.
cool. It was so cool. I mean, I think that a silent day like that where you minimize sound, speech, music, everything, electricity, technology, and you really get to settle down.
Nobody on the streets, no driving, no scooters. They do say the hospitals are opened, but that would be the only thing you would need to go to. You can't, groceries are closed. So
Right.
you're prepped to be quiet.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move into our house. And we have a very, very special guest, someone who we do talk about on the podcast a lot, and someone who recently had some really big moves in his world. And we are so excited because we're introducing my brother onto the podcast again.
Yay, canned applause.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we're recording this while I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona. And we're like, okay, what do we talk about in our house? And I'm like, oh my gosh, if you could have seen, Alex, what we did last night. And I said, oh, that can be our house subject.
Yes. So Andrew, welcome onto our podcast again.
Thank you for having me.
So I think you were on the podcast when we first started, when we were in a production studio and all of that good stuff. But we've, since COVID, had to move that all inward, and now also virtually on Zoom. So you guys are coming from Scottsdale, Arizona, and I'm here in cold Chicago. So let's talk about the rodeo that you were very, very new to. When it comes to golf, that's not a new rodeo, but this was. Tell me about
rodeo. So I've been to 2 of them, one in Brazil and one in Houston, Texas. So when Andrew says, hey mom, I don't know if you want to do this, but on Friday nights, they have this place called
Buffalo Chip.
it's kind of far north in Scottsdale that they do rodeos, and they do it at 8:00, and you have to get there and get tickets, and you can get food there. Well, I said, okay. And he says, oh, he's got some friends that were from out of town. So we're like, okay, we're going. So Rachel, Andrew, and I get ready, head up, and we walk in and explain what this looked like before we even get to the rodeo part.
Well, it's in a town called Cave Creek, which is North Scottsdale. If anybody ever has been or will go, it's a very well-known Western town. And it's a place called Buffalo Chip, CHIP. It's a restaurant, a lot of smoked barbecue, chicken, ribs, all the fixings. It's an outdoor, big amphitheater kind of setting, line dancing, live music.
I love line dancing.
Electric bowl, or the what do you call that?
Isn't it called
the bucking bull, the mechanical bull.
Mechanical bull?
Yeah.
And then towards the back of the facility, which you can't really see from the road whatsoever, there is a it's a rodeo pit or a rodeo ring with stands and bars and lights
Wow.
and a long line of people. And
Like bull pits. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So it was a kind of a jaw-dropping first impression because
It's your first rodeo.
never seen such a thing. And yeah, that was kind of what we walked into, and then things kind of got really interesting.
Tell me about that.
So Andrew kept asking me before, we can see all the riders with their chaps and their cowboy hats, and they're removing their cowboy hats to put on headgear, almost like a football with a big
The cage. Yeah.
football hat helmet. And they're, hopping over these like cage bar kind of like scaffolding kind of thing. And people are yanking on things and moving things. And we see the big bull inside there. And then all of a sudden, of course, there's 3 clowns, cowboy clowns in the center. And Andrew kept saying to me, Mom, is this serious? Could people really get hurt? It's like this looks like I'm getting kind of, this is dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The very first one I saw years ago, I did not like. So they pull the gate open and out. Let Andrew explain this part. The very first rider.
Oh, yeah. Well, she skipped an important part is before they did the national anthem, then a pastor says prayers for all the cowboys, which was kind of startling. And then the first ride, the bull and the cowboy come out. Cowboy probably lasted less than 2 seconds, but I guess because how he was bucked off the bull, his hand harness, the rope, even got tighter around his hand as he was dangling from the edge of the horse or edge of the bull. That lasted for a good 6 to 8 seconds. Then the clowns came in. They tried to help. The bull started trampling on the clown.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they were having no success. So all the clowns jumped on the bull.
On the bull?
Yes.
And
oh
the
my
bull,
gosh.
and they pushed the bull down. So he was like in a laying pattern, so they could untie the cowboy's lasso rope around his arm, and the whole crowd was
silent,
pretty silent, and kind of scared for what was to come.
Wow. So what was your reaction? I want to hear what Andrew's reaction is, because within our family, this is our favorite topic to discuss is my brother's reaction about things. Because when we do whatever we do, whether it's horseback riding or bowling or wherever we go, we always look to him for comedic relief because his face is so telling. So Mom, tell me about this part.
No, he was like mouth open, eyes wide, moving his head back and forth from like the people that were sitting with us to back there. I'm like, is this serious? Like, is he okay? And he took a long time, long time getting up. And Andrew thought for sure, like he was maybe dead.
Critically injured. Yeah.
Yeah. And Andrew's like, this is serious. This is very dangerous. I would never in my life let any kids, like I would never do that. And then we see a girl get on. And what do you say, Andrew, when a girl gets on?
Oh no.
No, you said, that's something Alex would do. Oh. And you know what? And if she ever did that, what did you say?
I wouldn't let her on it.
No, you said, she is no longer my sister.
Yeah, I don't think I have the cojones for that. That seems like a big thing.
Talking about cojones.
Okay.
One of Andrew's friends who were there, who were in visiting from Booth Bay Harbor, says to Andrew, who actually travels to Vegas to watch these the professional rodeos, says to Andrew, do you know why they get the bull to to buck and be angry and, trying to get this thing off of his back. And we're like,
We're talking about
no.
cojones right now?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And what does he say? They wrap the rope around the cojones of the
Ooh.
bull. It goes around his whole body, and that's what the riders wrapped around his hands for. So he's trying to buck the rider off of him so that his cojones can feel better.
Free.
Yeah, pretty
Free. Oh.
pretty gnarly
Ouch.
stuff.
So, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's like, who gets more hurt? You don't feel
Right.
bad for these riders because, yeah, I mean, they're, oh.
It was, so it's like so cruel. So as soon as Andrew finds that out, which is about halfway through the rodeo, it's like, oh my gosh, like
Maybe this isn't so
how
bad that
terrifying
the riders
is
get
for
hurt.
everybody. And yet there's, and then they're taking volunteers for $20. Yes.
For $20, you could
$20
get
and to sign a
$20,000 hospital bill.
and to sign a waiver.
I mean, it was just there's two parts of the rodeo at this location. One was the professional for all the money, and then there's a break where kids who were like 18 months old, 2-3 years old, were hugging on the back of sheep, and sheep were running around, and the kid that could hold on the longest was the winner, which was pretty wild.
I mean, that also is kind of cute. It sounds really cute, but it's probably much more violent than.
And then the second part is amateur night. So where they have people that sign up for $20, you can rent equipment for protection if you need, and
sign a huge waiver,
sign your life away. And
right. No, you have to. Yeah.
So we stayed there for the first few, and there was a guy, I don't know, probably 250 pounds, one of the amateurs, wearing jeans, a dress shirt.
Oh.
I think
perfect attire.
I think at the first buck, it was like a missile went off. The guy just went straight up in the air and then landed right on his
rump.
Right on his, right on his bottom of his spine.
Oosh.
And literally got up. Could barely walk. Everybody's cheering. He's trying to cheer, but he's like holding on to the railing. You could see his lower back like gave out. And that was kind of,
that's so bad.
That was kind of like the last that we needed to see.
Oh yeah.
It literally, so these little kids, and I mean, the little kids were cute, and they were put on some sheep, pretty big sheep compared to their size and weight. And they would put a little, helmet on them, but there was no, protective
padding,
full armor kind of thing. Not at all. There was a little girl that went out. Her dad put her on the sheep, and she, I guess, grabbed onto the hair of the sheep and was thrown. And she just stood up. The dad ran into the center. She stood up crying, and the dad's raising her hand up in this, and so that she could hear the cheers of the crowd.
Wow.
And I don't think she was, we were guessing there was a bunch of women there. We were like, we think she's like 18 months old.
No.
I swear to God, Alex, like 2 years old. And we looked, and then we watched all these dads put their kids on these sheep, and there were about 10 of them. And all of a sudden, some of the women that we were sitting with were like, where are the moms? Like,
yeah,
this is totally,
we know that the moms are going to be like, and not happening. Wow.
So the moms probably weren't anywhere around. They were probably at their, at home.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh my gosh, what do dads do?
I will say that like little kids, they can take a little bit of a beating and then just like pop back up, because when I was training kids on how to snowboard for the first time, there would be like a wipeout that I know would probably take out an adult, out of the ring. Like, I'm going to go, to the jacuzzi now. See you later.
Yeah.
But the kid would just pop back up being like, oh, I'm good. That was fun. Let's do that again.
Oh
So,
man.
well,
But it was certainly eye-opening in that very first one, and then Andrew saw another guy fall off and took a while to get up, and he stood up, and Andrew looks at me with these big eyes and he goes, did you see his mouth is gushing blood?
oh my
Did
God.
you see that? Blood gushing from his mouth?
Wait, so I have a question. Are these bulls? Is it like the same bull over and over again, or it's a new bull every time?
I think they had, I don't know, they might have had like 6 to 8 bulls that they rotated.
Wow.
Big 3,000, 4,000 pound bulls. Pretty serious.
Yeah, I'll stick to the mechanical bull that has the padding around it, and I don't have to hold a rope that has his balls tied up. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, it was a great experience. I have a whole other level of respect for those cowboys. So, but it was good to see, and it was a fun night, and I'll definitely do it again.
All
Yeah.
righty. All righty.
Okay.
Well, also we want to briefly mention too that, we've congratulated you over and over and over again, but we want to also announce on here and congratulate you on your new job at Valhalla. Congratulations, Andrew.
Yay!
Live
applause. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'll be seeing any rodeos in Louisville, Kentucky, but I'll be moving to Louisville here within the next 5 to 7 weeks from Scottsdale. Scottsdale was great. My time was cut shorter than I intended to here, but on to the next chapter, and hope to
This
be
is
back.
a big chapter. Can you give us a little bit of like historical value on what is Valhalla to golfers?
Yeah, Valhalla is kind of like the epitome of championship golf. It's in Louisville. It's hosted several PGA championships, which is considered one of the 4 majors of the circuit of the PGA Tour per year. They've had a few Ryder Cups, which is when Europe plays the United States, either United States soil or Europe soil for the overall.
That's international.
Tiger Woods has placed his stamp on Valhalla quite a few times, and they'll be hosting the 2024 PGA again coming up here, which I'm excited to be a part of.
Wow. That is so cool. Like, what are you most excited about for when you get to be there for the PGA Tour?
Just being in the middle of everything, helping run the tournament, and hopefully meeting Tiger Woods personally, and just being around the nostalgia of the place and at the tournament. And I don't know, maybe I can learn a few things from the big boys.
And you're going to be a big part of history in the making. And so that's so cool. So again, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Congratulations on all these new moves and new chapters in your life. And, anytime you need to come back and get grounded, you can always attend a rodeo.
Yeah.
So
great. It was fun. Everybody should do it at least once.
Jaw dropping. Yes.
Jaw dropping. So that's a wrap on our episode today, everybody. Thank you so much for listening in. Remember, we love your reviews. We love your emails. So keep them coming. Head to your podcast provider and give us those 5 stars. They're our favorites. So thank you, everybody, for listening in today, and we will see you next week.
See you later.
Bye, everybody.
So you finally know you control